I really lived my life. I'm not going to stand here and cry, but I was not happy, and I really wanted more. I was like, okay, it's professional. I've got two beautiful kids who are, thriving in their lives as well. But what is it for me? So coming back to your question, then I said to myself, I want to dig deeper.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Giving Spring podcast. Today we have an amazing life coach joining with us and she'll be able to introduce herself. Just tell us more about you, how long you've been a life coach, and maybe one thing that you love the most about it.
Hi, beautiful
Hi.
ladies. I'm so honored that today I'm one of the guests here on Giving Spring podcast. My name is Kino Lelegote. I go by No Lelegote on all my social media platforms because that's my brand. I mean, sunglasses No Lelegote, t-shirt No Lelegote. You get my drift.
Yes.
Just a bit about me. I'm a proud Motswana mom of two, and I've spent most of my life honing my skill of just paying attention, which normally we say paying attention to detail, people skills, and just, understanding life. And I did that in different roles as a radio presenter, as a radio producer. I've ran my own business, events business. And most of the time I would wonder why I'm doing this because I was once a DJ as well, for soul sessions. And now I
Wow.
realize and understand that it's because I had to now transition into being a life coach. And what I absolutely love about being a life coach is helping people to connect the dots to fetching their own lives, because I help women, especially professional mothers, to move from where they are to where they want to be, where we call it soft life, where we're saying somebody wants to go fetch their lives. That's where I come in and help them to map out a way to get there and account for it. Yeah.
That's so incredible. Thank you so much and welcome once again. I
Thank you. Thank you.
I was just so fascinated when you said you were a DJ and I was like, I aspire. Like, at least in my long life that I wish to live, don't dabble in that one
Yeah.
day.
We love a woman with many talents.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
Absolutely. So no, that was incredible. That's so incredible. So for how long have you been in life coaching and what inspired you to actually become one?
Sibukazi, to be quite honest with you, I was a life coach for the longest time I can remember. From an early age, my friends would come to me to ask for advice. I solve problems easily, especially other people's problems, because with my problems, I also need a life coach to also help me. Because as you know, in Setswana, we saying "Akagayi kalafi." It means that a doctor can heal himself or herself, so I've been like that for the longest time. It's easy for me to show people a different perspective. um Formally, as in trained, I've been doing it for the past 3.5 years, but I've been doing it, like I'm saying, for the longest time. I've led big teams in Motsweding FM, where I was leading a breakfast team where I found those two presenters were like your legendary presenters. And as a young girl getting into the media industry, I had to teach them how to do things sometimes. And I was not even speaking proper Setswana, but I made it work. I made it work somehow. So yeah, that's the longest time I can remember, because it's as if like it's my way of living, you know.
Wow, I like that you said that. Like you even took the informal parts before you actually became the professional of a life coach. So that's incredible. Like it follows the purpose followed you throughout your life. I like that.
And I like how you mentioned that, it's not only that you're a life coach to others, but that you yourself have to see a life coach yourself. It just makes us like aware that we all need someone, especially like a coach in our life, to help us make the necessary decisions to get us to where we want to be. But I think a lot of people also confuse like life coach with therapists and psychologists.
What are some of the differences that you know that you or that you see in your own practice that differ from therapists?
Thank you. That's such a beautiful question. So, professionals like psychologists and therapists are people who really, or should I say, professionals who really look into your patterns and behavior, all these things that are making you to be who you are today. Some are conditioned, they'll be able to get into it and help you heal that. Whereas, as a life coach, take me as a soccer coach. You know, when you're a soccer coach, you come already with a skill. And when you get to the ground, we watch you play because I'm not part of the playing. I sit behind and I watch you and I come back and I say, Siobhan, you know, I saw that you don't tackle very well when it's this side. You know, how about we tackle this side? However, in our case as well, you come with your own ideas, desires of how you see yourself in the future. And then I come and ask you, okay, give you different techniques that we use to say we move from here. If you were to move yourself, how would you think you want to move? And then from there, I will suggest other alternatives that I would want you to adopt, and then we both work on them accountable because it's not like life coaches perform miracles. I have to work with you hand in hand because it's your life. I'm just directing you how to navigate perhaps back to your path, because what I've noticed is that a lot of us get lost in our path where we get lost in the noise and other things that we entertain, and then you find yourself very unhappy because things are not happening the way you want. And I would be able to say, no, 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 come back. For you to come back, this is what we can do. Let's try it for a week, for a month, and then see how it works, and come back and tell me how you feel. If it doesn't work, we change another strategy until it works.
Ah, I really liked that. I think my favorite part of what stood out really was, you mentioning that you guys work hand in hand. It's we both need to progress in your life. Like it's your life, and I'm just helping you with it. I don't know. I really liked the difference and understanding the
Yeah,
difference between them all.
yeah, I like the soccer analogy actually. It made me understand so much more clear of like how how to view and
Yeah.
see a life coach.
And like sometimes, as people are going through their journeys, I think mental health is something that most probably you also see and you experience and you see people actually come with
Yeah.
such problems. So, in your practice, have you seen people really take their mental health seriously or are they just surviving?
Most of the time, that's why I got into being serious about life coaching, because I felt that I was in a survival mode for the longest time, and for you to be able to see that you're on a survival mode is when you have things like you do something, and especially something that is wrong, and you say, I'm like that. That's who I am. In my case, I had to stop drinking. I had to stop using substances that were not okay, and establish my relationship with Heavenly Father, and to see, how my life will pan out, because like I mentioned that I've worked for big radio stations and I was compensated very well. I really lived my life. I'm not going to stand here and cry, but I was not happy, and I really wanted more. I was like, okay, it's professional. I've got two beautiful kids who are, thriving in their lives as well. But what is it for me? So coming back to your question, then I said to myself, I want to dig deeper. I want to see how I can come back to myself. It started with depression, even though it was not diagnosed, because at that time I was not financially financing for me to get the right treatment. And I'm very grateful that I'm somebody who's very aware. I pay attention to detail. So I would be able to see, "Hormare, this it's something that I'm not used to doing, or I'm not doing it proper." So that's how then I started looking in my life and saying, what am I doing wrong? And I realized so many things about myself, about relationships that I had with people, about romantic relationships, just a lot of things. Hey. And then from there, that's when my journey started to say, let me take care of my mental health, because if I don't take care of my mind, as much as it's amazing, and you know, if I don't take care of it, then I might lose it. We see people walking in the streets because they've lost it, and they don't want to be with people. They prefer staying the way they are without taking a bath, without, like, it's not as if they see themselves, it's they lost touch of reality and they don't know how to come back to it. So we are not also taught how to take care of our mental health. It's not taught in schools. Our parents don't know about it. Maybe us, as your parents, we are aware, because our the elder generation, yeah, it was one of those, no, we don't know what's mental health. um so a lot of people don't take care of their mental health. They don't even know that there's something like that. You're just thinking that you're in your mind, or you thinking a lot of things, and yes, you are, but you need somebody to talk to you about those thoughts that are bad, that are making you feel bad about yourself. Where do they come from? The root cause. That's where therapists and psychologists will come and say, yeah, because maybe when you were growing up, this was happening. You grew up thinking like that, and now it's clouding your judgment, your thinking, and then you give up. And then we see you as somebody who's depressed. We see you as somebody who is not really participating in anything. So, yeah, I hope I answered you.
You absolutely answered me. Like, it was a very well rounded, and I think, it's so important to understand that these things are not really taught. you know it's mental health isn't taught at schools, for what instance.
Yeah.
It's a new
And
concept.
just
One
one,
thing that I want to add,
yeah,
because
just
of the experience that I've had throughout my working career. So I work with different, in my practice, I work with different therapists. It could be somebody who is taking care of kids, because I'm a mother and I have teenager, my son. I also have to, as a mother, understand him. So I would ask somebody, so how do teenagers act when he's doing this? What can I do? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because it's not like we are born with a manual to say, when you're a mother or when you're a daughter, this is what you need to do. So I have all these different um, experts that I work with, that if you come to me as Sipogazi and you're struggling with your career, I'll say to you, no problem, Sipogazi. Once we are done and we have our goals, if you need me to refer you to somebody who can assist you with your career, I'll refer you. If you say, Shivan, this is an example, I have a challenge with my mom and we are not seeing eye to eye, I say, okay, no problem. I've got a therapist who can maybe see you and your mom. So what I basically want is making sure that also my clients are well rounded and taken care of, even if I don't have to do it, but I can connect you to somebody who can continue with that journey to make sure that you are well rounded and your mental space is well taken care of.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot to digest right there. That's awesome. A question that came to my mind was, when you're speaking about like life coaching and the example of me and Sibukazi, I want to know, as a life coach, do they only focus on like one aspect in your life, or is it like all rounded? Like, for an example, relationships and family and career, or is it just specifically like towards career, helping them, guiding them through that?
okay. So there's different coaches, right? So in my case, what I focus on is you, because I can only give you what I know. I can only give you what I went through. So I've noticed that a lot of us as moms, professional moms, we don't know ourselves, you know? You really don't have a relationship with yourself. So that's what I focus on, to develop a relationship with yourself, to observe yourself in relationships that you are in, your love language, like to teach you such things, because they make it easy for you to map out what you want. I mean, you can't direct me to where you've never been, Siobhan. So what that means, what that looks like is, let's say, a simple example. If I asked you now, both of you, what kind of a guy do you go out for? What kind of a guy do you want? How does he make you feel in terms of how you would want to relate to him? I don't know if you guys can be able to give me that answer, but I know that with a lot of young ladies that I've had workshops with, no, I want him to have money. I want him to take care of me. And I'm like, that's good. That's perfect. How would you want him to make you feel? Do you want to feel loved? Do you want to feel safe in his love? Do you want him to understand that you're not ready to be intimate with him, and he must be okay with it? Or is he going to pressure you for you to do things that you don't want because you want to keep him? And are you okay to not be in a relationship until you find somebody who really is ready to understand you? So those are the things that I would help you understand. I would help you figure them out, because I'm not going to do it for you. I don't know you,
Yeah.
as much as you know yourself. So it's better for me to say, did you look at this? When you say to me, now I'm going to start to look for love, and I'm like, okay, do you know what you want in love? So now you establish and you say, okay, this is what I want in love. So if you want to go more into details about relationships and styles and whatever, then I'll refer you to a relationship coach, because he would then take you through how you possess, how to attract men. But you, from me, you would have learned what kind of men are you looking for. I would also suggest to say, okay, if you're looking for high achieved men, maybe you should go to places where they are, something that you've never thought, and then you would look into it. So I sort of make things easy for you that you've never thought. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
It
it makes
does.
perfect sense.
And I like the point that you made that there's different coaches. I think
Yeah.
that's what we misunderstand when we think, oh, life coach, we're like,
Just
whole
one
life.
of them. Yeah.
Whole life, all
Yeah.
aspects. But you
So I, I
clarified.
give I give you I give you the basics, but if you need to go into detail, then I refer you to somebody, because fitness coach, I can't help you with being fit, but I can help you map out what you want to achieve when you are working with a fitness coach. Do you want to have the abs? Do you want to have? I can help you with that, but I can help you map it out and tell. So be direct, be more specific, because when you manifest your life, you need to know exactly what you want. Us as people, we are like cars, ne? And most with a car, a certain Mercedes Benz would want, maybe it's a Triptronic, it uses diesel, it's got nice max. So I help you understand who you are to that detail, that you don't take petrol, you take diesel, that you are a 5 speed, not a 6 speed. And once you understand that, you perform better. It's getting clearer, ne?
It
Yeah.
is. No, it
Yeah.
absolutely is. Oh,
Yes.
I totally understand it, and I really liked the elaboration of it. Gutsy, we need to personally know what we want, and then therefore, go see your
Then you can
goals.
attract what you want. Yeah, then you can attract what you want.
Yes.
Yes. Because as people, we are also energy, ne?
Mm.
And when you have things that are harboring your energy, like hate and this, another thing, your heart as well. If your heart is not clean, you talk about people, you say bad things about people, you think bad, those things are not going to help you. They are going to block you. So you need to clean yourself as much as you can. And cleaning yourself, I'm talking about your thoughts, I'm talking about what you say with your mouth, I'm talking about what's in your heart, what you feel about. I think another thing is, the most important thing is how you feel about yourself. Having a relationship with yourself, guys, it's the biggest thing that people are underrating. It's the biggest flex. When you know yourself, you can even wear a t-shirt and just one t-shirt, and then people will just gravitate towards you, because you don't care about who anybody else is saying. You know yourself.
Wow, that is
All right.
incredible.
You're right. You're definitely on
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
like a question just came up to mind as we were talking about, are you truly what you like? Are you truly what you are that you attract? So, for instance, I've attracted maybe some bad people in my life. Does that reflect me as a bad person?
Not necessarily. You might have attachments that are making you attract those people? Like, depending, that's where a therapist will come in. Depending on your household, how you grew up, did you have a father, did you have a mother, and how was your relationship with them? Because that's what shaped you to be who you are today. So when we look into that and you tell me a bit about yourself, so I'm able to pick up to say, oh, okay, now I see what might attachment style you might have, and then if you want, then I'll refer you to somebody else, so that you are to an expert, so that you can go into deep to the root cause of what causes you that. So your energy is gravitating towards those people. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are a bad person. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you are attracting that because it's something that you grew up thinking that it's right, or it's something that you need, or it's something that you need to show. Remember, I said we are energy, and whatever you attract, it will come back to you. What you give as well from your heart, it will come back to you hundredfold.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah, I also like that you mentioned like the importance of just like going back to your previous statement of just having a relationship with yourself. I think, like you say, it's very underrated. It's not some people, I think, don't focus. There's not enough focus or emphasis on that in our own lives. Like, I think a lot of people are just so focused on finding a sense of belonging, where they like surround themselves with people and always in the mix, always with amongst others, that we forget to like, we also have to have a relationship with ourselves, as important as having a relationship is with others. And I think going back to that, a lot of people tend to be very hard on themselves, especially when they can't achieve a goal or they have like failures in their life. How do you navigate
100%.
as a life coach through that self-criticism and lack of self-worth? How do you help your clients get through that?
Yeah. So we sometimes want to do something without getting proper tools. That's why I would come in and say, okay, you want to achieve this. How are we getting there? What is your plan to get there? You would obviously share that I think I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And then I would ask you thought-provoking questions to ask you that, Shivan, you think if you do this, ne? And you do this every day, it's going to help you achieve those that goal that you want to achieve. And then obviously I would be in a position to also suggest, to say, okay, this is your kind of idea. How about when you do that, also apply this, which is a tool, right, that I would maybe suggest to you. Then in that case, we will give you some time to say, okay, let's meet again maybe in a month's time and see if this is working for you. On a weekly basis, you will do this, and then in a month, we will come back and see if this is working. I'm still there for you, depending if we're having a one-on-one, because I also offer different packages. If it's a one-on-one where me and you talk all the time, it's fine. But if it's a group, then we give you that, and then you self check yourself, and then you come back and you give us feedback, and we see if it has worked or it hasn't worked. So what we find a lot of times is that you don't have the right tools, and because it's something that you're used to blame yourself when things don't go right. That's another way of seeing that you don't have a good relationship with yourself. When things go wrong, the next person that you want to blame, it's yourself. Kandi, most of the time you need to be kind to yourself. Sometimes process take long, and sometimes it might not be you who's causing the problem, but you should be in a position to be able to tell. And if it's you as well, how are you working on it to make sure that you reach the goal that we are all we're working towards? So yeah, getting the right tools and your mindset as well is very important to understand where you are and where you want to get. And if it's not happening, it doesn't have to be you all the time.
Wow, I agree. Wow, that was very nicely said. I think, I liked as well how you mentioned the importance of even loving yourself. It's always reflected to a whole
Love.
self love, self awareness. And my question was going to be in regards to that. How can self-awareness help with mental health from your
Yo, it
perspective?
helps. It helps. If I could, I would teach kids from a very early age, which is something that I am working on to incorporate for kids to be able to express themselves. I mentioned that I've got a teenage son. My son has ADHD, so he's one of a kind in our family, you know. And he takes medication, and he is now transitioning into be a young man. And I noticed that he couldn't express himself. And at school, it's something that we saw later with his teachers and therapists that no, he couldn't express himself. So he would be violent. He shocked me. I couldn't believe that he was my son. I was like, no, I don't want this child anymore, you know? But I really prayed about it because when you love your child, you can't, you guys wouldn't understand, but I'm sure you know about loving your parents and your loved ones. When you love your child, you want to give them the best things that you can give them. And my son was just another problem after another because my daughter is the oldest. She never gave me a problem. So I had to really, really look at what could make this child be the way that he is. And I realized that my son couldn't express that, Mom, I don't like what you're doing. Mom, I'm not happy about this. Mom, I can't do this. Mom, can you help me with this? And when I realized and I taught him to say, listen, if you're not happy about something, instead of reacting violently, because sometimes you're at school and you are scaring under other kids, it becomes very traumatic. And I'm sure it's also traumatic to you. How about you pause and then you go to your teacher and you ask for help from her and then see how it goes. And once we really try to understand and take him through the steps of how he can communicate. And with boys, it's challenging, as we are told that men don't talk. So you can imagine with a young boy. So we really had to teach him. Now he's thriving. I went to parents' meeting yesterday. They were telling me how respectful he is. And that's what you want to hear. But you want to hear it based on the fact that it's also working for your child. It's making your child understand who he is. And being aware really helps you to also move in places that you don't like, with people that are not for you, because people will tell you who they are. And if you don't believe them, they'll show you. And if you still keep yourself in those places, then there's something wrong with you. Because we get hurt by our expectations, thinking people love us, people care for us. But people will tell you all the time who they are. And when you're self-aware and they say those things, you remove yourself quietly, peacefully. And they say, how, Sipogazi, we haven't seen you or spoken to you in a while. And you say, I know, I'm around. Don't worry. I've got other things that I'm doing. I mean, sometimes you don't have to be rude about anything. You just be polite and you move on with your life.
Yeah. I think sometimes that's even a challenge that I feel like I experience, where it's a thing of how Sipogas, you're not around, why? Are you ditching us? And I'm like, no, I'm not. But as one person grows and discovers themselves, and as well gets to understand a little bit more about themselves and how self-aware they are, they start knowing which spaces they belong in and where they're meant to be. And I think everyone definitely needs to experience that, and the earlier the better, because then you can even stand true and stand even in your own standards that you've put for yourself firmly.
100%.
Okay, that was awesome. So for our next question, I want to focus a little bit more on social media. I think a lot of people try so hard to become what they see. We have access to a lot of social media. We have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have movies, we have, so many different images of what we would like to become. So what advice would you give to someone who feels like they're falling behind in life because they see who, like, let's say, for me and Sibukazi, we're the same age. So let's say I see Sibukazi doing amazing in her life, and I just feel like I'm falling behind, and we're the same age, and I feel like I'm not where she is. How do you deal with that in your clients, with social media having an impact as well as, age, like your age group?
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's such a brilliant question, Shivan. Especially amongst young people, ne? It's a pressure that will really get to you if you don't take care of you. Remember those things that I spoke about: self-awareness, loving yourself, caring for yourself. Remember, I also help you to connect with your purpose. And once you understand those things, as much as it is hurtful sometimes, you would be jealous. And I normally say, turn jealous, transmute that jealousy into inspiration. If you are with Sipogazi and she's your friend and she's thriving, instead of being jealous of Sipogazi, ask her, Sipogazi, how do you do it? How can I also be like you? Like, I really like what you're doing. So we turn these things into positive things instead of being jealous and sitting in your corner and worrying and stalking her on social media. And another thing is, you also have to remember, also reminding young people, Hore, social media is another world on its own. And because of AI and all these things that are done, you don't know if it's true or not. You'll only know that it's true when you are with that person and it like in close proximity to see, okay, this person is thriving. That's when you can maybe ask for advice or help so that you get to where they are. And when you also understand your path, like I mentioned, you will know that we don't get to the same place at the same time. And I've realized a lot of times other people, their lives are short lived, and when you are still here with us, but you wanted to compare yourself, and comparing yourself, another thing, it's another thing that steals our joy, because now you want to be like Shivan or like Sipogazi, but you don't know what they're putting, like when they are putting the work, you don't know what they're doing. And if you don't ask them, you won't know. But you want the results that you are seeing that you don't know where they come from. So with social media, it's very, very important to be very cautious when you deal with it, to say, okay, it's good, but how can you use it to help you, not to work against you?
No,
I hope I
absolutely.
answered your question.
You did. You really did.
Definitely. Like, I like the part that is, comparison is really a killer of joy, you know. And shame, as us as humans, we go through a lot of experiences, we go through a lot of emotions, and people get to a point where they have emotional burnout. So, for
Yeah.
somebody that has emotional burnout, what steps can they take to rebuild themselves again?
Go back to yourself. There is nothing that you can never go wrong by investing in yourself, by going within. I always say, when I meet somebody and they're not speaking very well about themselves, I would have a serious issue to say, you can't be speaking about yourself in front of me like that, you know, because when somebody starts talking about themselves and you hear, I once did that. I remember this other lady, Dr. Faith Machel. I can't remember what I was saying to her. And the way she spoke to me, I was like, wow, okay, somebody cares about me that much that I don't even care about myself. It's that time that I told you guys about in my dark times where I was like, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me like a sore thumb to say, how can I speak like this about myself? So it really starts with you. The very same love that you would give to your friend or your family who is going through the most, give it to yourself. When you're going through the most, give it to yourself. Even if your friends are way ahead of you, tell yourself that they are ahead of me, but it's not the end. I'm still here, and I can still make it a friends. And just being on your own lane and knowing that you can't want things that you didn't intentionally find or look for them or attract for yourself. So going within is the starting point. And what I absolutely love now is, even if you don't work with me, because I really helped myself with your AI, your Google, I would ask it, how do you love yourself? You know, where do you start? What can you do? Things like your affirmations, like different things that you can use on a daily basis. And it's also your habits. What you do on a daily basis can also change your life drastically. It's just knowing that it's a process. It's not something that you can start doing now and then all of a sudden you are okay. You know.
I like that. I like understanding as well that, you know, having yourself to be emotionally reassured is through loving
Yeah.
yourself. I think
Uh-huh.
it's that builds also your emotional resilience in regards to whatever might
Yes.
happen in life. You get a chance to be stand firm. No, like that.
Yeah, just stand for what you believe in, and I think self confidence is like utterly important.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah.
just like understanding that, like you say, growth takes time. You know, it's not something that's gonna happen overnight. And with that also comes the fact that a lot of people have there's so many misconceptions about personal growth. But what is one misconception that people ask or have about personal growth or even mental health that you wish more people understood?
Okay, for mental health is the people think that you brought it to yourself. And I agree with it to a certain extent, but we must also understand that we also have family, should I say, patterns, where when you look back into your family, you'll realize that people in my family had mental problems. They just didn't know or didn't know how to give it name. They would say it's witchcraft and so on, you know. So understanding that really helps because, especially in the township, people would judge you because of mental health, thinking that you deserve it. How can somebody deserve a mental health issue, you know? Um, so that's the misconception, right? That I'm losing a chain of my thoughts. So can you rephrase your question again? I just lost.
Okay, so what's one misconception people have about personal growth or mental health that you wish more people
Oh,
understood?
yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah, so you
I think I
answered,
explained the
yeah.
misconception. Yeah, and then personal growth, like it's saying, it's personal. You know, and you must make it as personal as even just being obsessed about yourself, not being selfish, but self-full. You know the selfishness, but when you are self-full, you're not really harming anybody, you're not speaking bad about anybody, but you are just looking at you and the things that you want for yourself and how you want to better yourself. So I normally say to people, just be self-full. Anything that you do about you, even when you're wearing clothes, if it's wrinkled, go iron it because you're self-full. Fix your hair, fix your crown, make sure that you look presentable. Even if you don't have expensive things or you don't have those nice wigs, the glueless, the nails and whatever, just clean yourself. Be that person who looks so presentable that even when you don't have much, but people can respect you to see the way you carry yourself. You are self-full. When you move, people are wondering who's that girl. you know so yeah, personal growth, it's very personal. And if you don't take it personal, even if when you do it and people are starting to talk funny, to say, hey, you think you're better, you must say, yes, I am. I'm better than yesterday. Keep better too much. Don't shy away from it. People say, hey, you think you are better. You must say, I am. I'm much better. But I'm not better, maybe comparing myself to other people. No, I'm comparing myself to the yesterday version. You understand? So yeah, that's self growth.
No, that is so incredible.
I like that. I
I
feel like I should
Yeah.
paint that on my wall. Being like, personal growth is personal. That was such a
Yes,
nice phrase.
It's very personal.
very
Very.
personal.
And
And
that's how we should all treat it.
yes,
And one thing that I love about God is that He has given us all these things that we want, all of them. It's just that that's because others are getting them, others are making their self growth personal and taking it personal and taking it to an extent, and we don't put in the same work. We want to come and say, plus we as people like to be victims if you pay attention. Because my mom was a domestic worker, that's why I can't get this. Oh, my dad was driving a truck. What are you doing with your life? I mean, you can't really do much about where you come from, but where you are going, it's totally on you, girl.
Absolutely. It is totally on you, girl. And I agree. One thing that my sister loves to say is that the future is bright. The future is bright. You need to just
Very.
take it and take every opportunity that you have to the best of your ability. And whilst you're doing that,
100%.
do it with love. Do it with
Yeah.
all of your might, strength as well. And I think those things really just do tie up all together into making you as a person to be more fulfilled and feel your purpose. So that was really, really great. So in closing now, I would just love to ask, what advice would you like to leave our viewers? Maybe just one thing that they can take home today, or out of everything that you've shared, one thing that you'd love for them to know.
Especially as a life
Zap
coach.
Start where you are. There is no better way to start where you are. Wherever you are, whether it's bad or good, when it's good for you. But I know that good sometimes could be that, yes, you have a good job, yes, you're staying in a nice home, yes, you have a car, but you and your person are not in a good space. Start with you. Start with you. Look at yourself some more and really ask hard questions. I would also like to encourage journaling. Journaling is just sharing your thoughts about what you think. Sometimes you forget, but when you write, let's say you write today on the 29th of July that I was feeling like this. As you go through this journey of discovering who you are and your purpose, when you go back after a year, you see where you are, and you're like, actually, I've grown, because what did you do? You kept that record, you know. It could be somebody at school who is maybe struggling with their school work, and maybe the semesters, or I don't know, they call them semesters, ne? In university as well. Yeah, and things are not going as well. Whatever that you can do from now up until end of the year, push yourself. There's always miracles. There's always miracles. You'll be shocked that you make it, and you like, wait, I was not even thinking that I will make it. And more than anything, think good about yourself. Speak good about yourself, so that you're able to feel good about yourself. And feeling good, you must work on it. You must take inspired action. Take a bath. Let's start there. Comb your hair, smaller things, because you can't want things to happen, and when you're not making them happen. Remember, more than anything, you are the creator of your life. You're a director and a writer of your life. And if you don't take active action, then your life is going to write itself, and you're not going to like it because nobody's directing it. And when you take that driver's seat and you work on yourself and you contact people like myself and say, like, I've tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's not working. Where can we go? And I say, okay, let's start here and see how it works. And you become fulfilled, you understand your purpose, and bona, everything just comes together. You attract opportunities, you attract people, you attract nice places that you want to go. Your dreams are coming true. More than anything, dream.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Even I'm just feeling like that was,
Motivated.
that was so awesome.
Feeling
Thank
good,
you
ne?
so much.
Yes.
That's why your producer said I must come. I don't know if it's your producer or your technical guy. He said I must come back because one of the things that I absolutely love is teaching people how to think differently. It's okay not to understand or to, but when you have a different perspective about something, it also gives you another chance to look at how you do things. And it's exciting, it's fulfilling. It's like, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. You feel good.
You do.
You really do. Well, thank you so much, Kenole. It was so wonderful hearing from you and, what it's like to be a life coach, the advice that you've given us. I'm pretty sure that all of our viewers would be taking down notes, remembering to journal, and remembering those little quotes that you gave us in the meanwhile, and remembering the analogies that you gave us, and just, applying it in our lives as well. So thank you so much for your time, especially, and just for, just being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's actually my first interview, first ever, since I've started practicing, and I'm grateful for you guys to speak to me. And I know that one day I'll be sitting with you guys there, or you will be sitting
Yes.
with me because I'm also a podcaster, and I'll be asking you, what did you guys do after we spoke? Because one thing that I really, really appreciate is every person that I've met or that I've spoken to, they come back to me and say, you once said this to me, and I took it with me, and this is what I did. And I'm grateful that I've been able to impart knowledge with people that really transform their lives. That's why I said to you guys, I've been doing it for the rest of my life, but professionally, it just started. And I'm grateful that we had this chat.
Thank you so much once again. So now you know what to do as our followers. Please do like and comment. Please do also ask any questions that you guys feel free. And, we want to hear from you guys too. Yeah. So thank you so much. And we shall see you guys next time. Bye.